We want to turn now to a conversation we think is important and begin with a headline that many's found shocking. The New York Times saying the Trump administration considering whether to find transgender out of existence as far as the federal government's concerned. This is part of a wider effort to roll back protections for people who identify that way. Now, Democrats in Congress vowing to stop this if they win the House next week, adding sexual orientation to the protections in the 1964 Civil Rights Act as well as gender identity. Now, this is a fight that many people hoped was behind the United States in 2018. There's a new film that explores a lot of this, including something called conversion therapy. This is a belief by some that you can convert people out of the way they are or identify. The movie, The Miseducation of Cameron Post, has already won the Grand Jury Prize at Sundance, and tonight I'm joined by the film's star and director, Chloe Grace Moretz, and Desiree Akhavan. Let's take a look.
I've just never thought of homosexuality like this.
There's no such thing as homosexuality. There's only the same struggle with sin we all face. Would you let drug addicts throw parades for themselves?
No. No, you wouldn't.
Sin is sin. Your struggle is with the sin of same-sex attraction.
Chloe and Desiree, live on the beat. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Let me start with what you saw as important about choosing to do this project and inhabiting this character.
Well, it was really a multitude of things. I would say, first and foremost, I was so shocked to learn what conversion therapy was, and then getting into the process of the rehearsals that we wanted to do before taking on the project, learning about the modernity of the issue. I met 5 survivors of conversion therapy, and they were all no older than 25. They had been in since they were 15. And that modernity, I think, was something that really lit a new fire under me to want to really push this story out and it be not just a form of art, but a form of almost activism to teach people what conversion therapy is.
Tell me about the project. I mean, what do you see as the answer the same question? What's the import of putting this in front of so many people now?
Well, when I began this project, it's based on a book of the same title, and I optioned the book, and I didn't think it was a relevant problem. I optioned that book, and I loved that book, because to me it was a story of being a teenager. It was the most honest depiction I'd ever read of teen life and of female sexuality and of comedy and being a teen. It reminded me of a John Hughes film, and I loved it. And it was over the course of the year that we were researching, my co-writer and I, and adapting the book to a screenplay, that we learned that it was actually an incredibly relevant problem. It was during filming that Trump became president, and Mike Pence, who is a supporter of gay conversion therapy, became vice president. And suddenly the meaning of this film took on an entirely new feeling for me.
So if somebody's watching at home and they're thinking, well, this doesn't sound like something that a lot of kids have to deal with, this isn't a big deal, you would actually say that's kind of where you started out.
Sure.
And then it was in doing what? The research, the way you prepare for a film like this, that you look at the facts?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a metaphor. What I fell in love with the story about was the fact that I think whoever you are, gay or straight, whatever ethnicity, that you hit your teen years and you feel diseased in some way, like something is wrong with you. Whatever sets you apart from the mainstream is your illness, and you want to exorcise yourself of it. And then over the course of researching, I mean, but also, of course, I'm gay and Iranian. I came out to my Iranian family at 25, and it was the worst thing I've ever had to endure, and we changed together and I got through it. But it was a story that I cared about and felt in that way was relevant, but I didn't think gay conversion therapy was something that touched lives. And then over the course of researching, of following, most of the people who run gay conversion therapy centers are ex-gay themselves. So the landmine of emotional...
What does that mean?
Oh, ex-gay is how people who have undergone gay conversion therapy and have seen themselves come out the other side and no longer act on their gay feelings identify as ex-gay.
So how do you get inside that kind of situation for someone, and how do you make that real or not reduce it to, you know, a stereotype?
Well, really talking to them and getting the truth and the realities of what it was like to be inside these centers was something that I really wanted to grasp. And how much hypocrisy did you understand when you walked in? You know, did you walk into the center and immediately think, this is silly, you know, this is something that I don't believe in? Or did you believe in it? Did you want to cure yourself? And it was unanimous across the board that they treat it, the way that they try to prose it, the people that run these centers, they try to treat it like alcoholism is what they try and say it's like. It's something that you can overcome with certain tools. You'll be able to figure it out, and it all stems from some issue when you were a child as to why you chose this life. And to be able to get into that mindset, you have to first understand that you're growing up in a world which you've told that you were born completely incorrect. And I grew up in a very small town in Georgia, and I have 2 gay brothers in my family. And so I watched their process when I was very young. I watched their process of struggling with their identity and our community not helping in that sense. And now my mother has always been absolutely amazing with my brothers and helping them understand that they're safe within our family no matter what, and that we love them no matter what.
On that point, let's
Right.
take a look at the pressures. One more clip from the movie that you're in.
Right.
Let's take a look.
The bigger picture here.
Are you saying you're being emotionally abused by the staff here?
How is programming people to hate themselves not emotional abuse?
I've made note of what you said, and it will be in the official file.
We talk a lot about culture and society in these issues, and you think about Mike Pence or other people in government supporting this. By going into this part of the story, you're also shining a light on the pressure, because you're taking a minor, someone who doesn't have full authority,
Right.
and telling them there's something wrong with them, they need to change within that power structure.
Completely. I mean, you're being told that your feeling, the way that you were born, the way that you feel towards something. It's like not a choice of whether your favorite color is red or blue. It's something that is inherent to you. And you're telling them that they were born not just imperfect, but they were born full of sin. They were born damned in a way.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.